one of the ways to soften brown sugar is to put it in the microwave with just a titch of water and microwave it, and it will soften up. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add the 1/4 cup of water that I need for my cookies in there and nuke it for just a few seconds and let that soften up. So look at this, just softens it all up. And I've got the water already in for my cookies here, so I don't need to add it into here. If you take an ice cream scoop, you can have perfectly even cookies. Here's a little tip on cookies that people don't know. They continue to cook just a little bit longer. So you want to cook them just barely, like 1 or 2 minutes under what you think. So if they cook 15, take them out at 13 or 14 minutes. Then let them cool, finish cooking on your cookie sheet, and they will be perfect. So we're gonna let these sit for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're gonna put our next batch on. You can save up to 50% off on our Dining on a Dime cookbooks for our Mother's Day sale happening right now. Easy recipes to get you in and out of the kitchen quick that your family will love. The link is in the description below. Please go check out our Dining on a Dime cookbooks right now and grab them up to 50% off. I have my frozen pork loin here. I got my seasoned salt. Recipes in the description below. And I am liberally salting it, and I have my crock pot on high. And I'm just going to cover this. And as soon as it gets defrosted enough, I'll shove it all in there. All right, my pork roast has been roasting all night or all day, whatever you want. You want it to just fall apart like this. And then what you can do is just shred it and use it for green chili or barbecue pork, anything you want. Oh, so yummy. If you want your Mexican food to be stringier for type of cheese, add just a little bit of mozzarella. You don't have to add a lot, just a little bit, and then it gives it the nice stringiness and adds a little bit of flavor. And then we got our Fiesta blend. What did you just say when you took it out of the oven?
That looks pretty good.
Doesn't it look delicious?
Yeah.
Do you think?
What is it?
I would love to eat that enchilada casserole.
Oh, yes. I would love to eat that enchilada casserole.
Tip for olives, just smash them. You don't need to cut them up. Just take your hand and go through and smash them, and they will be in nice little pieces. Take, my goodness, not even half, 1/10 of the time to cut it all up. I am making from our Dining on a Dime cookbook the Toll House chocolate chip bars, but let me show you something here. I ran out of chocolate chips, but I had these chocolate bunnies that I paid, I can't remember if it was a quarter or 50 cents a bunny for 8 ounces of chocolate, which is a really darn tootin' good deal. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut it up, and I'm going to put it in the chocolate chip cookies. And that way I can have a few chunks, and I can have smaller pieces, and I am saving a boatload on chocolate. That's it. If you smush your lemon like this, it will soften up inside, and then you can zest it, and you will have more juice. After you're done zesting it, you can have more juice. Whoa, our lemon juice, that is a juicy lemon. Wow, this one really has a lot of juice in it. And mini chocolate chips, I use mini because they go further than regular chocolate chips. So if it calls for a cup, and I use a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips because it distributes more evenly in there, and I don't need to use as much. Line our vegetable bins with paper towel to keep it clean and easy. Eat 2 croutons by themselves, wouldn't you?
Yep.
Because they're so delicious.
They're good.
Dining on a Dime cookbook, volume 1. Now, I have no idea why I just put it in the bowl, because normally I don't do that. Normally I just put it on the pan. Make sure they're crouton sized pieces, like so. You take your oil, just sprinkle your oil all over, and then your garlic.
That is a lot of garlic.
That's why you guys like it.
Probably.
And then your parsley. And then I'm doing some big salt because I'm trying to get rid of the salt. There. And seasoned salt from our Dining on a Dime cookbook. And then just get it all mixed together. Going to put it in the oven. Okay, Jack, give us your 2 cents of what you think it tastes like. Ooh, is it too hot?
They're hot.
Still too hot.
Yeah.
Hold on. Delicious as usual. Jack's
Yep.
favorite croutons. Yummarummo.
Already had 4 of them.
All the hotel packets, collected them, put them into our coffee thing. Mike wasn't drinking them. Collected all the cups for my painting. Yes, make sure we get our money's worth. So the argument is, the leaner the beef, the more economical it is, but we're gonna see if that's actually the truth. What is the difference? So 73-27 means this has 27% fat. 90-10 means this has 10% fat, and 80-20 means this has 20% fat. So I went to Walmart, got all 3 of the same kind. These are all 1 pound. I'm gonna cook them up, weigh them. This one has way more fat. I'm gonna strain it. This is the way to get all the extra fat off. 9.3 for this one. Okay, so the 80-20 does not have as much as the 70-30, but 9.8. For the 80%, very interesting. Okay, there is hardly any, there's a little bit, but there's hardly any fat in that. Okay, 11.8. So there's 11.8. Now let's go do the math. 70% is 24 cents an ounce on sale, 49 cents an ounce not on sale. 80% is 52 cents an ounce not on sale, and 93% is 57 cents per ounce. That means it's a difference of 70% being 24 cents an ounce and 93% being 50 cents an ounce. That is 130% more expensive to buy the lean ground beef than the 70%. You can see here, boneless, skinless chicken breasts are on sale for buy one, get one free. You would think that's a good deal, but look at the price at $8.49. I regularly get my boneless, skinless chicken breasts for $3 and under. A lot of times I can still find it for $1.49 to $1.79 a pound, and then I just fill up my freezer and throw it in there. You need to know the price per pound and what is a good price per pound in your area. Then you can definitely know if buy one, get one free is a good deal or not. All right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stir all my dry ingredients together. So in basic baking, guys, I don't do separate bowls for wet and dry ingredients. So put all my dry ingredients in, stir it up so it gets evenly distributed, and then I pour in all my wet ingredients. So we've got our dry ingredients, now we've got our water. And don't freak out. We are going to be putting in a cup of mayonnaise. Yes, you heard me right. And for those of you who don't know, Mayonnaise is just eggs and oil. So if you don't have any eggs, this is a great substitution and works just as well as eggs and oil. Here's a little tip for storing canned goods. Just take a soda container. My viewer Kimberly sent this idea. She used a 12-pack soda box. I'm using my saltine crackers box. Take it, set your canned goods in there. Then when you need to store them upright, they won't roll all over. This is the top from my oatmeal container, and what I do is I take that and I put my honey jar so that when it drips down, if it drips down, it will catch it on here. I can either wash this off when it gets all gooey or just throw it away and put in a new one. Can't get my pickles open. So the first thing is I cut up one of those shelf liners, and I'm gonna try that, and that worked. Here's the other tip if you can't get it open. Take a kitchen knife, tap it around the edge, and it breaks the seal and you can get that off. Okay, I have this dirty pan from dinner, and I was gonna show you how to wash it. First of all, what I do is I let it soak for 5 minutes. I put 1 squirt of dish soap in with super hot water and let it soak. Then, if you have stuck on stripe stuff, you can use a scraper like this. I usually start with my brush and just get what I can off with my brush. That gets the majority of the stuff off. Then I have stuff like this left. What I do is I take my favorite cleanser, the pink stuff. Found this in Europe and now it's available in America. And I just go around and just scrub each little side. There you go, all nice and shiny. Okay, so he already dug into it, but I found out my son loves the crunchy more than the creamy. So what I'm gonna start doing to use up the creamy that I have a ton of is I'm gonna start adding a little bit of creamy to the crunchy all the time. And like this one is like half full. So I'll take and put a little bit in there. Then he can have crunchy and we can use up the creamy and just start stirring it in there just like that. Hopefully not make such a big mess. Okay, come over here. He's having a fit in the background. He doesn't think it's gonna taste as good.
No, that's not what I'm concerned about. Is that I don't exclusively like crunchy peanut butter.
Well, we have plenty of creamy back there.
Oh, because I like the crunchy creamy for the sandwiches.
You like creamy for the sandwiches. Well, what do you use the crunchy for?
Toast and like.
Ah, toast. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I was just informed that we like creamy for sandwiches and the crunchy for toast. Yes, you, Mr. Man. Okay, can't get it quite all in, but there you go. So if you have a situation like that, I just start mixing it half and half. But we have like 15 bottles of creamy downstairs, so he'll be fine for his sandwiches. I had to unexpectedly go for an hour and do something, so I turned it down to 290 from 350. So it's been cooking for about an hour at 290, so I'm gonna bump it back up again. And then it'll be ready. It's time to eat about 5 o'clock. It's 4:30 right now. Here's a little trick. When you're making sweet tea, only fill your water like up to here. That way you're not wasting water boiling and you're not wasting energy cooling to make your sweet tea. Just do enough to steep the tea and then just fill the rest with cold water after it has steeped. All right, so these are gonna be served for many meals for us, at least 10 dinners. So what I'm gonna do is freeze some of these and then I'm gonna put them in a freezer bag in the freezer. All right, there's my meatballs freezing. Oh, yum, I got 3 trays of meatballs. All right, so then I've lined my loaf pans with foil. And I think that one's a little too full. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna freeze them in these pans, and then I pull out the foil packets and store them in the foil packets, and that way, when I go to bake them, I just pull out the pan that I need, just sits right back in there. It's pretty handy, even if I do say so myself. Here is my meatloaves in the freezer. Now, I'm gonna leave them overnight, and then I'll show you how I repackage them. Okay, I have all of my meatloaves and meatballs here. So, here's what I do. Take a freezer bag. Okay, if it gets stuck, just run the bottom under some hot water. Okay, I've taken my frozen meatloaf out of my freezer bag, and watch this. Isn't that cool?
It is.
Then I just stick it straight in the oven at 425 degrees. The reason why I do the meatballs individually is then they won't get stuck together in the freezer. So I can just pull out how many meatballs I want for each meal. So I ran out of regular potatoes. I thought I had some. This is my bacon grease. And I'm just gonna put it on my regular potatoes, and then I'm gonna fix me a sweet potato. Then I'm gonna sprinkle with some coarse salt, just like so. And cover. I washed my potatoes first. And stick my potatoes in there with it. Okay, there is meatloaf and my sweet potatoes. Don't have the veggies yet, but it's after show and I'm ready to eat. So if you'll notice, I use a bowl with a non-slip bottom on here so it doesn't slide all over my countertop. If you don't have a bowl like that, you can use a silicone mat, or you can use the shelf liner that is the grippy shelf liner. You can use either of those. I don't know if you can see it here. It might come on this other side so they can see it better. Okay, so can you see the different layers here? When you see the layer separation, that is the yeast activating and foaming on the top there. So this is the yeast foaming and this is the water here. So you want to be looking for that. You know your yeast is working. Okay, so you can see how nice and fluffy and frothy my yeast is right there. Store my yeast in my freezer when I don't use it very quickly, and in my refrigerator all the time. So I'm going to show you an easy way to melt honey now, or to measure honey. Just spray your measuring cup with cooking spray, and then your honey will slide right out and it won't get stuck. Okay, here's a little trick. I just made some bread dough and I wiped up the big part, but you can see there's still some stuck on there. So I just take my scraper and scrape it up. There you go. Pretty handy, isn't it? Measurements are on the side of the butter here. A half a stick is a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to lop off a 1/4. So I got this big box of 40 pounds of chicken for $69, which is about $1.70, $1.60, $1.70 a pound. So for us here, that's a really good deal. So for me, it's worth having to repackage this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is holy macaroni, that's a lot of chicken. So these are huge pieces that aren't cut. So what I'm gonna do is cut these up into tenderloins because that's the size we use the most. And then I already have that pre-done for my dinners. Now this is gonna take me, I don't know, I'm gonna time myself and see how long this actually takes. And then I will let you know for sure. But it doesn't really take me that long to do. Then I'm gonna put them in bags, close the bags. And then what I do is I run a rag with bleach water around each bag because I'm not gonna wash my hands in between bagging each piece of chicken. Okay, that took me 15 minutes to get 40 dinners worth of chicken cut up. Now it's gonna take me 5 minutes to bleach my sink and clean up my mess. Guys, please, I am begging you, stop using vinegar to clean up bacteria-infested messes. Vinegar does not disinfect. It does not disinfect. Stop listening to the internet. It's a lie. Go look at your health department website. It does not work. Bleach instead. Use bleach to clean up your bacteria messes.
I keep my celery in foil. It stays fresh a lot longer. Here we have a leftover shelf, just about like everyone else. There's some encore dinners in there, and that thing is full of leftovers, leftover soup, anything that's a leftover, I put it in there. And every so often, we just have a week where we eat everything out of the freezer, which I have separated in Tupperware according to like Chinese, Taco Bell, Arby's.
All right, we're gonna start with melted butter, but here's a little tip, guys. I got these deli papers for free at a restaurant going out of business. And it was a yard sale for them. And I just put one on top of my butter or margarine, but you could also use just a little napkin. That keeps it from exploding all over your microwave. Now, I just keep these in a little zip top bag in the refrigerator. And then when I need one, I just pull it out or use the one that I used in the recipe. Okay, and get this all nice and smooth. So here's another tip. I reuse my parchment paper even if it's a little bit greasy. It's not a big deal. I just made some oatmeal cookies from our Dining on a Dime Cookbook Volume 1. And I'm gonna save this and reuse it again. I don't know, I get at least 3 or 4 uses out of each piece of parchment paper. I also use seal pats, which I love. Yes, it's looking really gnarly. I need to get some fresh. But love my seal pat also. This is a wash and reusable one, but I sometimes have to use the parchment for video reasons. Okay, so let me show you here, baggies. Now, Mom just dehydrated green onions for me in this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna rinse it out. Just like that. And then I just turn it upside down and let it dry. Now, if it has breadcrumbs in it, I just shake out the breadcrumbs and just shove it back in my baggie drawer right here. Now, for trail mixes and stuff like that, use these fold top bags here. Let's see, can you see? Okay, see these fold top bags? This is what I use. These are less than a penny each. So I think it's like $1. I don't know, it's like $1 for this or something. It's not very expensive. And so I just use these baggies, and even these, if there's just breads in it or cookies or whatever, I will reuse them, shake them out, and I just shove them back in here. And then the same with the sandwich size. This is the freezer size, this is the sandwich side. And then I just shove them back in there, and then they're ready to use again. The only thing I don't reuse is if I have raw meat or pretty much any meat, just because it's so greasy. So that's the only time I don't reuse them, is if it's got meat. As you can see in my freezer here, I have a whole bunch of applesauce left from last year that I froze. I just did not use it fast enough. So I got these apples for free. I went apple picking with my friend Lois, and I got these apples for free. And so then I made my own homemade applesauce. And so this is the frozen applesauce that I still have, super yummy for baking. Well, and eating too if you want. I'm using it now, and I'm gonna take one of these and go defrost it. Because I don't plan ahead. What I do is I defrost my applesauce in some water, just like that. Then about 10 minutes later, it's nice and ready for my applesauce cake.